The coastlines, the sand, the wind ruffling your hair. Doesn't it all sound magical? Well, sorry to burst your bubble, but Panama's got a handful of issues that no one really talks about. Despite being one of the top most traveled locations, moving there opens a world of problems. Now, I don't want to be the bad cop here, but I've rounded up a few reasons why you should never move to Panama. The language barrier. Panama, renowned as the crossroads of the Americas, is a melting pot of cultures and languages. It's very obvious that if you don't have some Spanish abilities here, life will probably throw you a curveball or two. Sure, a slew of expats can converse in English, and the odd multilingual Panamanian can be found. However, when you're out and about, especially in small towns, English can be as scarce as a four-leaf clover. And hey, that's just how it is. It's not on them to speak English, it's on you to get the hang of Spanish. After all, it is the official language around here, so picking it up can amp your Panama experience. For now though, that language hurdle can throw you for a loop. A bunch of stuff in the grocery stores is Spanish only, so Google Translate becomes your sidekick for deciphering the deets. And if you're seeking a hand while shopping, you better have some Spanish skills up your sleeve. Luckily, folks are super friendly, and as long as you're giving it a shot, they'll bend over backwards to lend a hand. Or maybe you need to book a doctor's appointment because of a nasty cough. Well, if you don't know the basics of Spanish, you're in for an awkward conversation. Now, if wrestling with language barriers would have you throwing in the towel, this could easily top your why you should never move to Panama list. Slow and steady for life. The mañana principle in Panama is not the upbeat and coffee-chugging people. Here, they prefer time standing still. When they say tomorrow, it's a polite way of meaning not today. While having a day off sounds great, having your life slow down to a snail's pace sounds challenging. This can be confusing for expats at first, especially if you're used to a faster pace of life. You're all pumped up to get things started, but then you realize it's everything on Panama time. It's similar to learning a new dance. It takes some practice. You might want to tap your foot to get things moving, but take a beat and let it flow. You see, there's a great comfort to life in Panama. It's as though they've learned the art of savoring and not rushing through moments. They have a more relaxed rhythm, where timetables aren't set in stone, and there's leeway for some improv. Now, don't be surprised if events unfold at their own leisurely pace. It's not a sign of idleness or disinterest, but rather a cultural subtlety rooted in the Panamanian way of life. So take a big breath, let your blood pressure calm, and believe that it will all come together soon. If not now, tomorrow, or the next day. To fit in here, you have to let go of your former self. Look out for crimes. When it comes to safety in Panama, it's good to be informed, but don't let the statistics scare you too much. The crime scene here, like anywhere else, has its oddities. In terms of statistics, Panama's homicide rate is lower than that of other parts of Latin America and the Caribbean. It was approximately 12.73 per 100,000 persons in 2021. On the other hand, robberies in Panama are slightly higher than the regional average. In 2021, there were approximately 49.61 robberies per 100,000 people. But here's the thing, statistics are only part of the puzzle. They do not provide the entire picture. Crime rates might vary dramatically from one community to the next, not to mention that the vast majority of Panamanians are law-abiding people going about their daily lives. Now, if you do decide to take the plunge, keep a few things in mind to preserve your groove. You should avoid late-night solitary strolls and stick to well-lit places. It's also a good idea not to flash your jewels or carry large wads of cash around with you. Also, keep an eye out when taking public transportation. Oh, and if a stranger approaches you, a little caution is never a bad thing. When it comes to your wheels, always look for well-lit parking spaces and secure them tightly. If Panama is on your radar, you should be prepared to do some research. Knowing the lay of the land and how to keep yourself and your belongings safe is common sense no matter where you are. So better to be safe than to be sorry. Say goodbye to infrastructure. Okay, so when it comes to Panama's infrastructure, there's a bit of a tale to tell. The spotlight is usually focused on Panama City, where things run rather smoothly. You have the internet, cable TV, and phone service that is nearly as reliable as you could wish for. And remember, internet bandwidth can be limited at times. Now and then, you may have a hiccup, such as a brief power outage or a period when the local water supply fails. So if you're on a deadline, you better have multiple options for a backup. In addition is dealing with litter and rubbish pickup issues. Overall, living in Panama City and its suburbs is pleasant. If you transfer your attention to the country's interior, the story takes an unexpected turn. The infrastructure game is a bit of a challenge outside of Panama City and the larger towns like Phuket, Coronado, Padassi, and Santiago. Depending on where you are, cell reception does a little disappearing thing here and there. The internet, on the other hand, can be a hit or miss. Now let's talk about the roads. But here's the kicker. Traffic in Panama City can be a nightmare, with cars pouring onto the highways at an alarming rate. The government is struggling to keep up. The metro has been a major game changer, as have the extra traffic cops on duty, but it remains a thorn in the side, hurting daily life in Panama City. Highways are frequently left to their own devices, with maintenance taking a complete backseat. Many of these byways are gravel, and some of the paved roads are in such disrepair that a dirt road would be an improvement at this point. So while there is definite potential in terms of infrastructure, particularly in Panama City, there is still some work to be done in the wilds. Sweaty weather. Let's take a look now at Panama's climate. It's a spot where you'll find yourself in the grip of a tropical environment, which means that no matter what time of year you visit, it'll be hot and humid. It's like being in a continual sauna, a genuine embrace from Mother Nature. This can be a bit of a dance with discomfort for some people, especially if you're not used to it. You might feel permanently dewy as if you're wearing a second skin of humidity. That tropical, steamy mood is something that certain individuals truly enjoy. Others, though, may find it difficult. It's as if your clothing is stuck to you, and every step seems like a workout in and of itself. Adapting to this type of climate isn't always such a piece of cake. Your body requires time to adjust, and even then, some people may find it just too much to bear. It's like learning to waltz in the weather, which can take some practice. On the other hand, it does rain here. Even during the rainiest months, from June to November, mornings are frequently sunny, with an hour or two of rain falling between 2 to 5 p.m. Rain can fall in the form of a moderate drizzle or a violent downpour. Now, speaking of rain, it comes with more drawbacks. Battling diseases. Rain, stagnant water, and poor sanitation mean one thing: dengue. In Panama, there is a health concern that is on everyone's mind all year. It's about dengue fever, a mosquito-borne disease. The point is that it's not just a one-time concern. It's something that comes up frequently. The rainy season, which normally lasts from May to February, is the most dangerous time for dengue fever. During this period, the conditions become more favorable for those pesky mosquitoes that transmit the dengue virus. They flourish in rainy weather, which is unfortunately rather typical in Panama during these months. So whether it's the rainy season's peak or not, it's crucial to keep an eye out for preventative measures. Using mosquito nets, wearing protective clothes, and of course using mosquito repellent are all examples of things that can be done. When it comes to protecting your health, it's all about being proactive. But it's not just mosquitoes that'll be chasing after you. Navigating machismo culture. You know, Panama's got a bit of a thing going on with its macho culture, and it's not always the greatest thing for women. Sadly, you could be strolling down the street, and suddenly you've got someone giving you unsolicited comments or worse. Catcalling and verbal abuse are unfortunately pretty common here. This dynamic can really throw a wrench in things for women who just want to go about their day feeling safe and comfy. Especially in the hustle and bustle of Panama City, it can be a bit of a minefield. So for any lady thinking about hanging around in Panama, it's key to be extra cautious. Looking out for each other is the name of the game here, and it's high time we all did our bit to make Panama a safer, more respectable place for everyone, no matter their gender. No credit cards. You know how having a good credit score is super important in the States? Well, that's not the case in Panama. Here, you could go to any store and be expected to whip out some good old cash. Now, both for security reasons and accessibility, carrying a wad of cash sounds like trouble. Not to mention, this can be a bit of a hassle, especially when it comes to handling your monthly bills. Instead of handling them electronically, you might find yourself having to make a physical trip every month. Also, it's worth noting that relying solely on cash can sometimes open up the possibility of getting shortchanged or falling victim to scams while you're out and about in the country. Now, no country is without its faults. So, where there's beauty and peace in Panama, there is also the occasional problem. Now, tell me your thoughts on moving to this country in Central America, and follow my channel for all things travel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.